What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hardworking Happy Hour. I am Sean.
And I'm Catherine, and as always, we will be breaking down all things trades, entrepreneurship, and turning your creativity into a passion career.
That's where you say, and I'm Dan. We didn't brief him on this. This is...
You gotta introduce him.
I know. We don't usually have guests, but we have one of the best in the industry. We have Dan Preston, Hardscape Design.
Thank you so much, guys.
The Buffalo, Team Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yes.
Team Buffalo.
Thank you so much, guys, for sure.
So we are here at HNA, and Dan is somebody that I've talked to on Instagram and, all that for probably a couple of years.
Yeah.
At least we've been following each other a couple of years, and just does absolutely amazing work. But this is the first time we've met in person, and I think we vibed way more than at least I expected. Last night we hung out like all night talking about business, talking about art, talking about the best excuse to use in the world, which is, sorry man, I'm an artist, which is awesome. Yeah. But tell us a little bit about what you're building and the stuff that you're doing.
I use the catchphrase distinctive outdoor living, right? And it's like, that's really what I like to provide for people is distinctive outdoor living spaces. Distinctive means it's creative, it's different, than everybody else. I try to push the envelope and do whatever I can with, every next design is taking it to the next level. And the way I'm trying to build it is just to get people who want that creativity and who want the big, distinctive outdoor living spaces. So, and I'm trying to build it with social media like these guys, and that's why it's a huge inspiration to even be sitting here with you two, just because of what you guys do for social media,
Appreciate it. And one of the things that I always say about Dan is, as a designer, I look at him, and as I'm scrolling through Instagram, within a millisecond, if I see one of his pictures, like I don't need to see that it says Preston Hardscape Design posted this. You can tell immediately this is Dan, built this, designed this. And I always thought that was such a difficult thing to do. And it's something a couple people have told me, and I've taken it as the biggest compliment.
Yeah.
Like, that we're using a limited amount of materials.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options out there, but at the end of the day, we're using concrete pavers, using natural stone.
Right.
Everyone has access to the same
Yeah,
stuff.
right. Sure, that's a good point.
And
yeah.
using them in a way that makes it super distinctive is a really hard thing to do. And I think you've done that better than just about anybody.
I appreciate you saying that, man. And when you messaged me that I think it was you messaged me that was the biggest compliment I feel I ever got too. And it's just crazy about it, and also to accept and own your style was something that took me a little bit of a time, right? As a designer, I was putting these designs together, and I felt like I was repeating myself, right?
Yeah.
But that's your style, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not repeating myself. That person isn't getting the same exact product. They're just getting some of the same materials used in, the same way, I guess. So I really feel like I have a trademark border on my paving stuff, and I think that's what sets me apart. And for somebody to be scrolling and stop and know that that's my stuff, I mean, that's amazing. And that wasn't a goal of mine, but that's for sure something that has obviously helped me get to whatever level I'm at right now, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, recently I was scrolling through, whenever I see your stuff, I'm like, I show Sean immediately, like the mountainscape. I was just like, Sean, this is amazing.
No,
like, look at
cool.
this. But the other day when we were coming and I knew we would be talking to you, I scrolled through your feed as a whole, and it's just straight up art. It's like everything that you do is flawless, and it's just like looking at it as like a whole, it was just like mind blowing. So
and to me, that
really
presentation
talented.
of that feed has to look like something.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because people are going to go back and scroll that whole thing, right? And it has to represent what you're doing, as does yours as does, I hope mine does, represents exactly what I'm doing, and keeping everything kind of branded at the same time, like, the same filters on my pictures, right?
Yeah.
The same kind of editing that goes into each video and everything else, and just branding across the board.
Right.
And I guess appreciate you guys saying that for sure, because I know people in the industry look up to you guys for those same exact reasons. So for you guys to tell me that's wild for sure.
So where did you start in hardscaping? Where did you find the passion,
So it's pretty, I have a really long story for that, but basically, I feel like I'm a little bit different than other guys. I worked for probably 7 different landscape companies throughout the past 17 years before I went into business for myself. So I worked for one for a really long time. The first company that I worked for about 10 years, I was basically trained by guys who had experience of 15 years. So I was 20 years old. I started getting trained in hardscaping by guys who already had a bunch of experience and passion, right? So I feel like that's what kind of got me off on the good foot, is I worked for a great reputable company worked for an amazing designer, and I worked for a project supervisor who didn't let me do anything imperfect, right? So then that's just basically how it started. I kind of just developed my passion, realizing that I was an artist. I dropped out of art school, and I was like, what am I going to do with my life? What do I like to do? And as soon as I started working outside and realizing that I could, still be an artist with landscaping, that kind of blew my mind, and it just snowballed from there, I guess. So I could never find a perfect fit, right? And I was just beating myself up about that because I was always the pickiest. I always felt like I cared the most, right? So when I say I went through 7 different companies, it was one for a really long time. I moved out of the area, and then it was like a few-year process of probably like 4 or 5 companies because I was just looking for that same thing again that I had the first time, right?
Yeah.
And I could never find it. And eventually, the benefit to that was, going into this, sorry about that. So the benefit to that was a company actually offered me a design job, right? So I was shuffling through these companies not knowing where I was going to go, but then when I did land with one and they offered me the design position, that kind of put me on the other side of things. I had been shopping myself as a builder, right? I was just a hardscape foreman or project manager, and then a company invited me on the design side of things, and that's when my whole life just went full circle. I dropped out of art school at 20 years old. I'm 35, now I'm drawing again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing, right? And I already knew how to put it in.
Yeah.
I felt like I know how to build anything. Now I get to draw my own stuff. Forever I was building stuff, and I was even like, this could probably be a little better, right? But I was an employee. It wasn't my position to do that. So it's like, it's been super liberating, going on my own and having a sense of creative freedom, right? And not having to trust anybody else to put in my designs exactly how I want them to go. So I hope that's a little bit of a intro to how I got started. Yeah. Kind of by default, I guess.
Yeah. So was it like an aha moment, like when you were given the opportunity, or were you working towards that? Did you want to be
design?
Yeah, like
aha. I had no idea.
Really?
Right, so as a project I went from a foreman to like a project supervisor, which meant I was a supervisor over maybe 2 or 3 crews at a time. So I'd have to go out and direct.
Foreman to like a project.
Oops. So I had to go out and control those jobs, right? And I had to make sure they were getting put in right. But when I was out on site, I could ad lib, and if the design did need to be changed, I could, as a project supervisor, I could tell my foreman to do that, right? And I could stop by the next site, and we could kind of make a little design change. So, the higher ups in the company seen that I was able to do this ad. Maybe this guy can design, right? So then they just, hey, will you come help us design? That was out of the blue, for real.
Oh, nice.
And then I got in there, and then I realized design means sales too, right? Yeah. So then it's like, but then I learned how to design and sell, right? I knew every other thing to do in the business, right? I've been a laborer all the way to a foreman, project manager, whatever. Now I'm a designer and a salesman, right? So then what's the next step? Custom hardscape design, right?
Yeah. I think it's super interesting because we've had like 2 kind of opposite experiences getting into business, where like I came from like no experience, just like, this seems cool, let's do this. And you worked for somebody for such a long time, got all those like foundational things in place. But I think like at the end of the day, both of us, it's just like kind of happenstance that we're both building outdoor projects. Like I think we both just are like driven by the creativity. And it's like, I feel
that's
like
what led us or wherever we were going.
I feel like it's just completely by chance. Like, I was doing landscaping, and then it was like, had an opportunity to do this, and I'm like, this is cool. I can be creative. I can do this. But I feel like if any circumstances could have changed in my life, I could have been doing something completely different.
I always think, what if they wouldn't have offered me the designer job?
Yeah.
I would still be a project supervisor. Like I never, what if they would have never offered me the designer job? Or what if I would have never got that big lead when I was a designer, when I decided to make the jump on my own, right?
Yeah.
Which was the best decision I ever made, obviously, And
I think it's really interesting too that like, you, like, people I think look at your designs, look at the things that you're building, are just like, that's amazing. Like he must have just like had no doubt in himself to just go out on his own and like, I'm gonna kill this. Like I'm the best. I'm gonna do this. And not
even close.
It's hard to like,
took me forever, I feel, right? And so that's why, that's what I'm doing right now, is trying to push other people to get out there and go on their own as soon as they can, because we know it's an awesome feeling to be able to have that freedom to be able to do that if you want to do that, right? And you have the capability to do that. But I didn't have any confidence doing that. It took me forever. I was 35 years old. I was hardscaping for 17 years before I started my own business, right?
And I think another thing that makes it a little bit more difficult to go out on your own is like, you had a really good job and position working for somebody.
I had a steady paycheck coming in. I
didn't have any skills, so it was like if I either have to figure this out on my own and sell my own jobs, or I got to start at the ground floor. And I was starting when I was like maybe 25 or 26. So it was like, there was a little bit more urgency to like, I got to at some point start making some money.
Yeah.
So like, do I work for somebody else and make $12 an hour, or do I start selling jobs and end up making $8 an hour, but figure it out and can start building a business? So
exactly.
There's like so many different routes to get to, you know, where people see where you're at now and they just think like, he was just destined to be there. I'm not like that. I can't do what he's doing. And like, you know, I think just being open about like,
you did
it for 17 years.
Wherever you're at in your journey, it's not over.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's amazing. Like, I didn't realize that you've only been doing it for 7 years to like see, you know.
This is year 6 right now.
Yeah, so 6 years to go from just starting your own business and all of those struggles that everybody's going through.
Yeah.
To, you built a paver helicopter landing pad in, how far away was the job from your house?
800 miles away from my home base,
Wow.
So 800 miles away from your house, you have somebody that is obviously wealthy enough to own a helicopter and have a helicopter landing pad in their backyard, and they reach out to you and are like, we need you to do this. And they're 800 miles away, but we need you.
Yeah.
We're not going to take no for an answer. Like,
unbelievable.
How does that happen, and how does that affect like your confidence as a builder and like somebody to just be like, I am doing something special because this person sees it?
100%, man. That client changed the course of my career, I feel.
Yeah.
The helipad was phase 3 of a massive project. You know, phase 1 was a 300-foot long walkway. You know, phase 2 was a 3,000 square foot pool deck with, you know, massive rock retaining walls. And then phase 3 was the mic drop, right? The helipad. But, and that's like, I say that like I had confidence, but I do now. It definitely gave me a lot more confidence, man, to realize that just to get your work out there to the world, I guess is how I put it. Like, as soon as if you're doing good work, you present it to the world, you know, someone is going to pick it back up and recognize it. And it's like talking to you guys about social media. It's like, that's exactly where that job came in, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I would have never been promoting myself or doing any of that if I would have been working for the design firm I was still working for. So when I went into business, you know, 5 or 6 years ago, I feel like it's, you know, social media is still growing, but it was like you had to have an Instagram account, you had to have a Facebook account, and you know, my videographer got me to start my YouTube account finally. But it was all that stuff that led me to Tennessee. So basically, it's like I have this clip coming out soon that just says, keep showing the world examples of your work, right? And you never know where that's going to go or where that's going to pick up. So an Instagram direct message led to the biggest project of my life, 800 miles away from my hometown. Gave me the ultimate confidence, right? It's like if the people in my hometown aren't hiring me, I'm just joke around and like, well, if they don't want to hire me, I'll just go to Tennessee then.
And it's like, it's crazy. Like, where do you go from here? You've done a helicopter landing pad. Like, I don't know what else.
No, yeah.
We just don't live in an area where, I guess, or maybe we just haven't broken into the market to know where
The
people
helipad market?
that have helicopters live. We haven't done one yet, and I don't see one coming in our future anytime
But
soon.
projects like that and projects like you guys are doing, it's like you've built it to a certain level, right? And that's how I'm still trying to build it to a certain level where it's just like, you know, bigger jobs are just more suitable for how I'm set up for. Like, I want to provide a full detailed design of all the way around your new construction house, right? And then I want to source qualified subcontractors to help me put that together. And when you start to build it, like, people are calling me now and reaching out to me now for, you know, not maybe necessarily a helipad, but for distinctive outdoor living spaces, right? And the leads that are coming in are just, they're just wild. It's just so cool that people are interested in what I do, right?
Yeah.
So where does it go from here? I mean, it can only go up, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's
in a helicopter.
Yeah, it's not it's not stopping. I have a bunch of cool stuff sold for next year, and it's like I'm not gonna stop posting heat on my
Did you get to ride in a helicopter?
Full disclosure, no, I did not.
Really?
Right, I could have went up in it, right? So I'm just going to be transparent about that because we did put a YouTube video out on our Hardscape Mentor page.
Yeah.
So you can check that out. We did a behind the scenes of that whole filming.
Yep.
So we're out there waiting for the helicopter to land. We had 5 cameras set up. I
Yeah.
mean, but we were capturing content, right? We knew what we were doing with that, man. That was all just a big hype fest, right?
Yeah.
That's a cheap thing.
If we were doing that, I would have 100% put it in like I have to be in the helicopter, and like we've even talked about, I mean, not super seriously, but maybe a little seriously, how much would it cost to rent a helicopter so I can just land in the backyard that we're doing, hop out and be like, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the vlog. Then the helicopter goes away and that's it. We just pay. It'd probably be too expensive, but you had access to a helicopter.
That's exactly what
I think
we
you
did.
need to go back, get in the helicopter, and that's the intro to the video. What's going on, everybody? Dan from Preston Hardscape Design. I'm going to show you how to build a helicopter landing pad. Peace out.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Helicopter flies away.
Yeah, right. That's what we tried to pull off for sure. I guess I have a motion sickness problem. I didn't want to ruin my day. I was like, I drove 12 hours to film for 4 and drive back 12.
Yep.
Right. I had to make that happen.
Yeah.
So then I have the best videographer in the world, and if you watch the video, you can't tell I wasn't in a helicopter.
Yeah.
And he's taking shots from down here. It looks like I'm in the air.
Yeah. So I want to also talk about, like, you know, people look at your designs and how you've gotten there and how you have this distinctive look to your designs and to your builds. What is, like, the most important thing? I think people want to get to that level, but they don't realize what work you need to put in to get to that level. And, like, I think, you know, it seems like you let that creativity be the driving force of everything. And that's what we try to do. Because I think everything that we've done to this point, if at any point we get comfortable with what we've done and just ride it out, it's going to be like a slow descent to
exactly,
you know, irrelevance.
Exactly, and that's what you're talking about. Where does it go from here? It's like you just keep going with it, right? You never get comfortable either, right? Like the mountainscape is 11 different papers. There's 4 different thicknesses in there, and then I threw a flagstone, and it's like that's just always pushing the envelope, never being comfortable, always challenging myself as an artist. For sure.
Well, how many materials? 12 or 11?
There's 11 materials in a, I don't know, 240 square foot area.
All right.
But I was just,
challenge accepted.
I hope
you got to do 12.
My goal was to still have it look clean, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I went into with my apprentice. It was just like, it has to look like mountains. It has to be clean. Right? So
it turned out unbelievable, like insane. We did a project, I want to say 2 years ago, and we wanted to use every color of Decorators decking on this project that was about 240
square feet. It's cool when you just have those ideas and you're like, I got to get this out there.
Exactly. And it was like, that was almost like a challenge for me. Like, how can we incorporate 6 different colors, a 240 square foot deck, and have it not look like it's just a complete hodgepodge of nonsense? So that was like one of my favorite designs to do, because it was like a really unique challenge, and I think it pushed me to like really go through and it was complex, but something about it had like a simplicity to it that just made sense.
Exactly.
So like doing 11 different materials on a 250 square foot patio is like an insane challenge. Plus you're making it look like a mountainscape. I mean, it's just,
now that you say that, it's like that's what drives me for sure, is that challenge, right? Like building that poolscape in Tennessee was the biggest challenge of my life. I was like, what am I doing down here, right? Like every project I feel I'm getting the response from it was a challenge, and I was like, holy cow, what did I sign myself up for? But then it's over with, and you did put it together, and your vision did get pulled off, and then that's what just drives you to the next one, right? And that's funny you say the challenge. I feel like the first challenge we have is what the homeowner gives us, right? So then we get that out of the way, right? We conquered their challenge. Now we're going to challenge ourselves within their challenge, right?
I think with the layout of the spaces, you get the functionality that the homeowner needs. And then that functional space layout is then your blank canvas to do what you want with
my borders, my lines I originally put around that job are solving their problems, the access and flow, and then let's get into there. Yeah,
it's amazing. Let's talk about the Hardscape Mentor, because
I appreciate that.
We talk about usually in a very negative light, all these mentors and consultants and coaches and all this stuff, and most of the people out there are completely fugazi and scammers and are going to tell you how to scale your business to $1 million and drive a Lamborghini in 3 months.
Man.
Dan is out here doing it. He has been doing patios, hardscape 17 years, then went out on his own. He's been doing it for like
23 years.
23 years. And I love that you're just focusing on like the technical craftsmanship aspect, because nobody seems to care about that. Everyone wants to teach you how to make $1 million.
I don't know how you do that without building things right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, you do it and then you go out of business in
Yeah,
a year when
because
everything falls apart.
something failed. Yeah,
Yeah.
right, exactly. So that I was hesitant to even use the word mentor,
Yeah.
because it is flying around right now. But then I did want to use the word mentor because I wanted to separate it from the other ones. So we put hardscape in front of mentor,
Yeah.
and that's basically exactly what it is to give back my 23 years of experience to anyone who signs up for this program, right? To have an elite group of young dudes and girls who want to grow, right?
Yeah.
And just to give them back everything I can. Like, it was almost another aha moment. You never know where your career is going to lead you, right? Supervisor, designer, on my own. Aha, now I'm going to be a hardscape mentor, right? And that just came from feedback from these young kids I was going out and working with on site. Guys were reaching out to me on Instagram, and then I brought them onto my site in Tennessee, and they inspired me so much to start that mentorship program. It was unbelievable. So I appreciate you guys bringing that up, and that's all I'm trying to do is teach guys how to build it right, take the details to the extreme level,
Yeah.
and the Lambos will come after that. Right?
Yeah, yeah. Or maybe not.
Yeah, either way, yeah.
Yeah, either way.
That's how you have to build it.
Yeah.
There's no other way to, in my mind, that's where whatever success I've came from is
Yeah.
just keeping my head down on the details, the integrity, the craftsmanship,
Yeah.
and then being nice to my clients the whole time, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, I always say work hard and be nice to people, and that's basically my
pretty good,
my
yeah.
mantra. I know it sounds vague, but it's like just narrow it to those two things.
Yeah. That's pretty much like a
Yeah.
success story for
the
your life.
recipe.
If you can
Yeah.
work hard and be nice to people, you're probably going to be set up pretty good,
Yeah.
you know?
That's all I try and tell people for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have Angel here too. He's you've taken on an apprentice.
Oh, wow,
this year.
yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about
Sure.
since you are a mentor now?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
thank you
You're a
guys
real
so
life
much
mentor, too.
for bringing this up. Yeah, this is awesome. So this has been a crazy part of my career to go into this mentorship thing, and we got it out there, started promoting it on social media, and Angel reached out to us. Angel's from Atlanta, Georgia, 18-year-old kid, just graduated high school. He's searching the internet all over the place to find out how to be a hardscaper when he grows up, right? His dad owns a landscape maintenance company. They do, high-end residential maintenance around Atlanta, Georgia. But Angel thinks that his passion by scrolling people's feeds is hardscaping.
Yeah.
He wants to go to a hardscape university. Well, that's coming next year. I haven't started that yet. But when he said that to me, he's looking to learn hardscaping coming out of high school. It once again, those stories like that just inspire and motivate me. Like, that's what I've been doing my whole career. Some other kid wants to come and do that. That's crazy. So he said, I don't want to only sign up for your mentorship program. He's like, I want to work alongside my mentor.
Yeah.
I was just like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
And it's a wild, crazy story that's just been working out really, really well. And so Angel came up to Wisconsin. He lives in Atlanta. We hooked it all up. I spoke with Angel's parents. He came up to Wisconsin. He's staying up there, and he's working with me for 6 weeks. I'm training him, giving him back everything that I know. I don't have any other crew members, right?
Yeah.
Full disclosure there. I am Preston Hardscape Design. There is nobody else. So me and Angel are right side by side every day, right? And I can only think that it's just gonna, lead this amazing kid to bigger things, right? So yeah.
I mean, that's I don't want to necessarily put that out there that everybody can have that opportunity to reach out.
And that's the thing, right? You
Yeah.
have to be
Right.
a unicorn like Angel
Yeah.
for that to come in, right? And it's like there's not a lot of people like him out there, and I don't know that I'll always put that opportunity out there.
Yeah.
But right now, this one right now is working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had the opportunity to hang out with him all night last night, and he's here. He's here right now, and
Yeah.
he's doing a great job because, full disclosure here, we have just commandeered this conference room. We are not, licensed to be in here, but we commandeered it, and somebody
Angel's
that
running the
works
door
here,
for us. Yeah.
somebody that works here came in trying to get some equipment out, and he quickly flagged me. I was like, no, closed session here. So he's doing a good job with that, and it's just amazing to I think it solidifies your motivation behind the mentorship stuff, because you're not just trying to be hey man, you just got to pay for this mentorship
Yeah.
program online, check out my videos, you got to pay me. You're yeah, this guy,
Yeah.
he really seems like he's passionate about it.
Yeah.
He wants to learn. So,
And these other
let's hit him
trades,
up.
offer paid apprenticeship programs.
Yeah.
Plumbers, welders, electricians, they have paid apprenticeship
Yeah.
programs. So there really aren't a lot of official hardscaping ones.
Yeah.
But I just started one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
it's amazing. And like you said, he wanted to come up work for you and pay you
Yeah, he
to
did.
teach you, and you were like, I think that just speaks to like your integrity and your character. Like, no, like this is a unique opportunity. Like, you know, I don't do this a lot,
Yeah.
but like, I'm not going to let you pay me to come work with me.
Yeah, we're going to be out here hustling
Yeah.
and grinding together. You're going to get a paycheck too. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way I could feel good about going home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We both worked 10 hours, sweated our butt off, hard work, and it's
Yep.
like he paid me.
Yeah.
No, that ain't going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
think that like I said, solidifies like your character. And
Thank you so much.
you know, I think it is really cool that like you did stick with the hardscape mentor, because I think having a mentor, I've had different mentors in different capacities.
Yeah, right.
Like nothing
And
formal.
even you don't even know they're that. You don't even know
Exactly,
that they
yeah.
are your mentor sometimes,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
And you know, there is like a lot of value in that type of thing, but I feel like at least recently that whole industry of
it's-
coaching mentorship has just become like kind of sleazy, and
Right.
it's so based around sales most of the time
Yeah.
that it's just refreshing to like, you know, kind of like put your foot down and be like, no, I am going to use that word mentor because that is
Sure.
what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and you can
Thanks
do
for,
this
thanks
type
for
of
saying
thing.
that. It helps me feel better about
Yeah.
doing it, because I was
no, I think it's
hesitant. I'm
great.
hesitant about that
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
it's just flying around. You know, a 20-year-old kid has a sponsored ad going up telling you how to make money on.
Yeah.
And it's like, pay
Right.
me and I'll tell you. And it's like, how much experience do you even have?
Yeah, exactly.
You've only been driving for 4 years.
Yeah.
Even drink it.
What are you gonna tell me that I don't know?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'm just trying to have that's my street cred behind this, and every
Yeah.
project I build going forward, you know, Nashville, Knoxville, wherever it comes, is just that street cred to say, hey, this is what I want to show you guys. This
Yeah.
is what my background is, and this is what I want to teach everybody else. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, very cool. Thanks for bringing that up, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, what do you think? Did you learn anything here? I mean, this is the first time we've met in person.
Yeah.
What's like the best thing that you've gotten out of this show?
Oh, just the networking, right? I mean, I know that probably sounds cliche, and everyone's like, it's all about talking to the people, but
Yeah.
it 100% is, right?
Yeah.
Like this is, you know, one of the biggest moments of this week is sitting here with you guys and being able to meet Premier Outdoor Living, right? And it really is, and that would have never happened without an event like this,
Yeah,
right? The
for sure.
takeaways from the other contractors I've met here obviously is the number one thing about this show, and it's like, wherever you're at on your journey, I always say I try to build the biggest network I can. Like,
Yeah.
I'm ever expanding
Sure.
Team Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
Because wherever you are in the country, whatever you need help on, you need support, you need
Yeah.
a team. So that, yeah, for sure.
I mean, we've talked back and forth on social media a lot, so you know, there's a lot of value in like developing those relationships. But till we met in person, like, you know,
We wouldn't have known each other.
yeah, exactly. Like you know me from my online presence, and it's
Yeah.
like, you know, I don't know, maybe this guy's cool, maybe he's
Right.
you know, a scammy kind of sleazy
Yeah.
guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Dan's cool, maybe he's nuts.
Right.
Probably a little bit.
Yeah,
You're
right.
an artist.
I'm glad you found out I was nuts.
Yeah. And you found out I was equally nuts.
Yeah.
It like
And that's
kinda
why we get
takes
along,
it-
yeah.
It kind of takes it to like the next level of like, you know, now I feel like, you know, we'd go back and forth with Instagram messages or whatever,
Yeah.
but now I feel like I could call you up and be like, yo, Dan,
Yeah.
what's going on? Like,
Exactly.
you know, and I think there is so much value in like, you know, deepening those relationships with people in the industry. And this is where it happens. Like,
Yeah.
and you'll see people everywhere that like are just meeting for the first time in person.
Yeah.
And like you find people that are really similar to
Yeah.
what you're doing.
There's so much confidence and solidifies what you're doing as a career.
Exactly.
Right?
You know, it doesn't feel like you're alone. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, we
You
are like,
hardscaping? He like everyone here is like,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, you're used to like being at home, like
Yeah.
at a party, like, so what do you guys think about this
Yeah.
pavers that came out? People are like, dude, what are you talking
exactly.
about?
No, so that's definitely the
Yeah.
biggest benefit. Is this is the biggest event where everyone gets together. I mean, you guys came from New Jersey. I came from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We met people from all over the country, right? So,
Yeah. And this, like, you know, it's hard for a lot of people to step away from their business to come
Yeah.
out here. Like, we ended up spending like $4,000 or something on
Yeah.
plane tickets,
It is.
show tickets, hotel,
it's a commitment, yeah.
and you know, it can feel like, man, that's a lot of money to spend. But
Yeah.
as soon as you get here, it's just like, wow, there's so much
Yeah.
value, and it's hard to put like a price tag on that
Yeah,
because
right.
you develop these relationships that are gonna, you know, go on for years.
Yeah.
You know, and it's all of those like, you know, kind of vague, like abstract things that bring so much value at events like this. So
Yeah.
that's what I love about it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And especially getting to meet you. I mean, that's been like the highlight of my week because
Same,
you
man.
know,
It has for sure.
I don't know when it happened, but I'm 34 now, and I don't like loud places anymore.
Yeah.
I don't like going to parties. There was a concert downtown last night. We both walked through the crowd, and we're like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
We went to a quiet library themed bar and just got to sit down and chat, and like that was the most valuable thing.
Chop it up and talk about the industry.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And that already has given me confidence and you know, given me insight on how I need to start redirecting some things in my own business. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, you got anything else? We'll get into. I got a couple other just random questions for you.
Do it, man.
You got anything else?
Do it.
Business related, podcast related?
I think I'm good. If you have more random questions, I'm interested to hear what those are.
This has been
What
great.
are you a book reader of any sort?
I am not, man. I'm an artist. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to get into more book reading because there's a lot of insight in that. But just being to be honest, no, I'm not. You know, I'm not a book reader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how to read though.
I know how to read.
Know how to read. Just not a big fan.
Yeah, right. I dropped out of school.
So did I guess.
So did I.
Yeah. Right. It's like, and here we are. Yeah.
Angel's the only smart one. He never went to college. He was like, this is a waste of time.
Yeah.
I went to college for about 6 years, and I'm one class away from my associate's degree. So
pretty much the same story.
I almost got a 2-year degree in 6 years,
Right.
and
Yeah, 4 years in, and all my friends graduated and left, and I was just like, "Hey, I thought we were hanging out." Guys,
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, and then that's when I dropped it and became a landscaper, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So any like, what from like an art perspective inspires you? Like, you know, I think you have such like an art background.
Yeah.
Aside from other landscapers or other outdoor, like where else do you find you pull inspiration from like an art perspective?
Well, kind of like I touched on it last night. Like even in that setting we were in, that library themed bar, it's like I just look around, like everywhere is inspiration. Like it's everywhere. There's probably some inspiration in this penitentiary style room if we really looked for it, right? Like these lines are kind of interesting on the wall, how they did that. Maybe we could get a retaining wall that had these popped out. You know what I mean? So if there's anything, just look around basically. And you know, there's really no direct lead for inspiration other than just keeping my eyes open and my head up.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Yeah.
I think that is like a mentality thing of, you know, a creative person is going to be on the lookout for those things constantly. Like even unconsciously,
I'll
like
stop
you're
and look
looking
at,
at.
what are you looking at, dude?
Yeah.
It's like, hang on a second.
And other people that want to be this really good designer, they want to just get in that mode when it's time to do a design. But like you have to have that mentality all the time.
Man, there's designs floating around.
And then eventually it starts coming out of you, and like you get better at getting those ideas from your head down onto paper. So like translating those ideas that are just kind of abstract floating around in your head, it takes a lot of time to practice getting them out and getting them how it's supposed to look, you know? And that's something I feel like I'm still always working on, always looking to get better. And I think that's part of like the art behind it.
Yeah, I was like a graphic artist. That's what I would call myself, you know, in college, right?
Yeah.
And in high school as well. And so it's like I do a lot of 2D presentations that show my banding lines and my different tones, textures, and patterns, because it's like it all starts with that 2D abstract geometric image. Like I said last night, you need to put it in a frame on the wall. It's got to look good there first. To look good there, then we can build it, right? And then it's going to look just like that too. Yeah, it's abstract, you know, geometric, kind of two-dimensional background, right? Like I like logos and branding and like just like commercial art, I guess, if you will. Right? That's kind of where I pull things from for sure.
I think you made a really good point about it has to look good on a wall in 2D. And I think that's how I design. I do it on graph paper first, sketch it out. And there's something about that symmetry or perspective of a 2D that you can't get that perspective when you're on the ground there, but you feel it. Like you can't see it from that perspective.
How can you make someone feel a 2D image? Right, but you can.
Exactly. Like you just have this sense, you know, if you look at it from above, you're like, wow, everything is, you know, really lining up and it makes sense. But when you're on the ground, you don't consciously feel that, or you don't consciously think that or see
it all at the same time.
But it's like everything just feels right. It just feels like an inviting space. So I think that's super interesting that, like, if you think about it like that, it has to look, you got to be able to frame it and put it on a wall.
Yeah, and I've even had clients say that, like, oh, I want to frame this.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
That's really cool.
Should we do a secret question?
Oh boy.
We do a secret question at the end of each episode.
Okay.
We should probably also mention that this was kind of put together last minute. We're not even drinking.
No, right.
Yeah.
We usually drink on this. It's called the Hardworking
Would have had to
Happy
been a
Hour.
mimosa or Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we do a secret question?
Sure.
Should we just do it for Dan? I don't think we have time to I don't even know how that would work. Usually we each
Yeah, I don't
come
know
up
how
with
it
a
works.
question, a secret question that we don't know what's going to be asked. I'll ask Catherine a question, and then she has to answer it, and I'll answer the question. And then she asks me a question, I'll answer it, and she'll give her answer as well. Yeah, it's kind of confusing.
Yeah, you just lost me.
All right, let's think of one for Dan.
Okay.
Do I have to think of something right now?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We give him no preparation for this. We wanted it to be off the cuff, natural.
I'm right out of
What
the
do you
hotel
got?
bed.
I
to
had
hear.
one.
Okay.
So we were just talking about creativity, and you said that you have always been an artist.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you get all of your creativity out now with Hardscape Designs, or do you have another outlet for creativity in your life?
Ooh, it's a good
Wow,
question.
that is a good question. I would say that it probably has to be the number one outlet. I try and be creative with everything that I do, right? Like, I paint murals on the wall in my house. I
That's cool.
just, build the weird barn board walls in my house. Like, if I do any other sort of creative thing, it's helping my daughter decorate her room or something like that. That maybe something like that might be where I'm creative. And then getting with my videographer and putting together the Hardscape Mentor stuff. I mean, that's like a creativity lab when I'm over there. Right?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like creativity is just flying around that room. So I really, you take that all for granted. It's like I probably, if I stopped getting my creativity out there, I don't know what that would be like. But every day it's just getting out there somehow, some way. But definitely my Hardscape Designs and what I build every day is the number one way how I get my creativity out there. And I just seen someone post about that, like, this is how I express myself. And it's like, do you really, it's hard to really think about it like that, but
Yeah.
that's how I express myself
Yeah.
with a helipad.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool way to put it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That is pretty awesome to like just and even think about that, because it is like something kind of unconscious that like
Yeah.
you are driven by that creativity.
To sit here and talk and think about it is
Yeah,
the
it's
only reason
weird.
you realize that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that people need to understand when they see designs that you're doing, or even designs that we're doing,
Yeah.
and they think, how can I get to that level? But certain people don't want to put in that work.
Yeah.
They're not, like, I've gotten to my design level by obsessing over it for the past 8 years.
Yeah.
Every design I do, I pick it apart after it's done, and usually I hate every single job after I'm done, because
Yeah.
I'm like, I
could've
could have
did
done
it
this little thing better.
1,000% the
And
same
like,
way, man.
you have to have that mentality to get better. I think
Yeah.
if you have the mentality, you can grow as a better designer.
Go through my whole
easily.
portfolio, the guitar, the helipad,
Yep.
the mountainscape, and I'm like, that should have been better. That
Yep.
should have been different.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what are you talking about? It's
Yeah, I
like,
know.
Yeah.
And that's like the type of obsession that you need to have to be that type of person
Yeah.
that gets better. You
Yeah.
can't just like, and you can't expect to get a design like you're doing on your first shot. You know what I mean? Somebody that's just getting started, like, you got to put it out there and you got to do something. You got to look at it and say, man, this curve I did here makes no sense, looks terrible. You got to go through all of those things and have the mentality that you're going to incrementally get better as a designer, as a builder, to be able to get to that level.
Yeah.
And some people just don't think they have the creativity but are willing to put in the work, and those people get really far.
Yeah.
Some people have the creativity but aren't willing to put in that work of years and years of tweaking it and getting better.
Yeah.
And those people are the people that are not really going to be able to get to some kind of like,
Hard work's the bottom line.
exactly.
No matter what you're
Yeah.
putting yourself into. It's
Like you said,
hard work.
Right.
And like
hard work can be nice.
Yeah, well, the creativity, it's like the mountainscape was hard work.
Yeah.
It's super creative.
Yeah.
But it was super hard work at
Yeah.
the same time. So not being like the creativity drives it.
Yep.
Hard work, schedule, whatever else that's out there is secondary.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Well,
What's your secret question?
my secret question? Oh, I gotta hit one. Let me think.
And I don't have one, so we can wrap it up after this.
Okay.
Just kidding.
All right. What's your favorite band? You look like you would be in a band.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate art as a whole, every form of art that there is, right? And music is obviously one of those. So when I leave Kentucky, I'm going up to Wisconsin to go to a couple nights of concerts that I've been going to with some buddies for the past 20 years. I've probably seen this hippie jam band about 75 times, but I really value music. I feel like it's the background of life. Angel knows that when the music's on, we're working.
Yeah.
I shut the radio off at lunch and we take a break, and I shut it off at 5 and we're done. Otherwise, the music is playing in the background the whole time.
Yep.
And so I appreciate music. I appreciate art. I have lots of favorite bands, but one in particular is a band called Widespread Panic, and maybe you've heard of them or maybe you've not. It's kind of a subdued underground type of thing, but
Yeah.
I'm going to be at a show with like 3,000 people this weekend, and there's going to be, everybody there is going to be from around the country.
Yeah.
So it's like a subculture, and we all just have this passion for the music,
Yep.
right? So I just appreciate passion,
Yep.
appreciate art,
Yep.
right? So I just try and involve myself in things that are like that, for sure.
All right, last question. Does The Apprentice get any radio privileges? Or is it just you picking the music? How does that go?
It's like there's not a lot of radio stations in my little hometown either. So Angel's learning every country song. That sounds good. And I'm not sure he's happy about that. But I will tell you a funny story about that real quick. So I'm like, oh, Angel's probably sick of country music. He's 18 years old. I'm 43 years old. What can I put on my Pandora?
Yeah.
This is how I'll close this, right? What
Yeah.
can I put on my Pandora to impress this kid? Or how can we get on the same page here? So I'm not trying to be like naive or closed-minded here, but Angel is a Hispanic kid.
Yeah.
So I'm typing in Hispanic rap,
Yeah.
Hispanic hip hop, whatever, right? I'm just like
Kids listening to these
what are
days.
you listening to? I don't know, right? And I ask him, I'm like, what would you put on? He says Tupac. I'm just like, I'm done. I'm like, I'm done with Tupac too, dude. And we listen to Tupac the rest of the day.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice. All right, well, dude, it's been obviously awesome having you on the podcast, but it's probably been even better just getting to hang out with you and
man.
everything. And
I feel like it's the start of an epic relationship.
yeah, man.
Sure.
And I would love to
Thank
do this
you.
again. And we'll have to go back to the van because you were like pretty dead set on it.
Yeah, I told
the
Sean,
podcast.
when he started this, I said the only way I'm getting on your show is I need to be in the van. I live in Wisconsin and he lives in New Jersey, so we met here in Kentucky and we made it happen.
You made an exception.
But the next one's going to be in the van. I'm going to do
sure.
that for sure.
So
We'll make it happen.
Yep.
thanks for watching. We're on the road, so the audio quality probably hasn't been the best, but hopefully the knowledge that Dan is sharing made up for that little bit of audio difficulty. So
Yes.
follow
Dan. Find him.
Yeah.
Social,
App,
YouTube,
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And at Hardscape Mentor.
Yep.
If you want to learn. So till next time, this has been the Hardworking Happy Hour.
See you next week.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.